Hello again. I saw you yesterday, so guess what we're talking about this time? That coronavirus stuff again. So, I just watched a video about where this man is talking about Bill Gates steps down from Microsoft after realizing how bad the coronavirus outbreak is. So apparently several CEOs did the same thing, because there are people in the comment section. They said in the past month, CEOs from Disney, MasterCard, L Brands, Uber Eats, Hulu, MGM, IBM, and LinkedIn have stepped down. And it sounds like since Bill Gates wants to help out, he gave out a bunch of money to help find a solution to the problem. A lot of people are thinking that it's a conspiracy that all these elite persons, Bill Gates has a patent on the coronavirus. That's what somebody says. I mean, how do you know that? You probably don't know that. And information like that is not going to be made to the public. That's just you speculating. You're probably thinking that because you don't have what that person has. So he could be helping people. He could be helping people. And yet, back in the day, kings may have, had control over people. But what you see today, it doesn't always have to be like that. It doesn't always have to be that, just because somebody has power you don't have, that they want to rule the world. It's not always like that. But the only way they have control over you today is through advertisement anyway. But they're bothered by the fact that one time he said that there were too many humans on the planet, and they're thinking, oh, that means he'll try to get rid of us. Someone says he owns the patent on the coronavirus. Someone said Pirbright Institute is funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, coordinated with John Hopkins and others for Event 201, a joint effort simulation of coronavirus outbreak in October 2018. Let's go look that stuff up to see if that's even true. Event 201. About the Event 201 exercise. So the site is called centerforhealthsecurity.org, event 201/about. So this is something new for me because I didn't look up enough conspiracy theories or enough of this. But this, yeah. So we're gonna just take a look at it. Event 201 is a 3.5-hour pandemic tabletop exercise that simulated a series of dramatic scenario-based facilitated discussions confronting difficult true-to-life dilemmas associated with response to a hypothetical but scientifically plausible pandemic. 15 global business, government, and public health leaders were players in the simulation exercise that highlighted unresolved real-world policy and economic issues that could be solved with sufficient political will, financial investment, and attention now and in the future. The exercise consists of pre-recorded news broadcasts, live staff briefings, and moderated discussions on specific topics. These issues were carefully designed in a compelling narrative that educated participants in the audience. The Johns Hopkins Centers for Health Security, World Economic Forum, and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation jointly proposed these recommendations. Okay, so that person, might be onto something here, but we need to find more information. Would you like to dig into this? I think maybe it's time for us to do a video on this. So we're going to get into Event 201 probably in the next video. I know you're used to people doing slideshows and putting pictures and all that stuff up there. I tell you, I'm gonna do something different. So we're gonna do something slightly different. Feast your eyeballs on some stuff. But anyway, we're just gonna finish reading this. So in recent years, the world has seen a growing number of academic events amounting to approximately 200 events annually. Mind you, they said that the Chinese, they covered up the whole coronavirus, you know, the numbers and how bad it was in China. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was true. So I get that persons, they love their fair share of conspiracy theories. Let's see if this is true. These events are increasing and they are disruptive to health, economies, and society. Managing these, yeah, I bet they would be. And the reason why is because it's taking people out of work. And I'm thinking, you know what? I mean, I can always pack up and live in the wilderness. You know, if you want me to give you some tips for like where you would get your antibiotics from what I heard, it's in acorns. So you boil the acorns, and then the residue that's left over that comes out of the acorns, it leaves behind a solution. That solution is antibacterial, from what I hear. So you wouldn't have to worry about antibiotics. Like, dude. And on top of that, when you boil the acorns, you can eat them because they're supposedly bitter if you eat them, you know, without boiling them. So I'm thinking, well, we got that part down. Now let's talk about the water. Well, you'd have to make a wooden pail, right? You have to make a wooden pail, and then, like, how you would get rid of your waste, I'm thinking you would have to, you know, well, it's not like you can have a cement, you know, truck out in the woods. You could probably dig a pit, I should say, put a bunch of rocks in there and light the feces on fire, because, you know, it's not really good for the soil. I mean, what enough do we eat that's good for the soil? So just, you know, bury it. Just bury the junk. It's bad for health to just leave it out in the ground. It's bad, especially when people eat like strange shit too. You know, they eat strange things. I've seen a lot of nature channels, survival videos, so that's where I learned some of this stuff from, except for maybe the feces part. Like that one I just made up. I just made that one up. I'm thinking you have to take a dump at some point. So I'm thinking, well, you're not going to have toilets out in the wilderness. And how you build shelter, well, that's another. My thing is, you have to live out in the woods and get away from this kind of stuff. So I'm tiny as it is. I'm a tiny person. I'm scrawny. If you ever see me in public, if you ever see me in person, you notice I'm a tiny person. I'll be able to manage out there because I'm small enough for it. That's part of it. I mean, it's not like I have to eat that much. So, because I really don't have to. I'm tiny anyway, so that part is down. I mean, imagine persons, they make several trips a day to McDonald's. It'd be hard for them. It would be hard for them. For me, all it is just adjusting from indoors to an outdoors thing. So, yeah. I mean, we were in tents in the past. You know, I went camping before, except actually what wasn't really tents, it was like sleeping bags, and then we were in cabins and stuff like that. But it's me. Yeah. But this is having, so we're gonna do event 201. We're gonna do an event 201 thing, and then I'm gonna do like picture scenarios, like drawings, so you get to see what it is. And you get to do whiteboard things. So I'm gonna sit back. I was gonna go to like a cemetery and do a YouTube video out there. I might do that tonight. What you say to that? Would you like that tonight, peoples? We could do that tonight. We could probably do that tonight. Go out there tonight, do a YouTube video, and then, you know, I'll do my own paper, you know, slideshow thingies for you, and then we could go from there. All right, so you lovely persons have a good day, all right, because I'm coming right back. We could talk about anything at that point. But it's not like I'm doing a live stream where we're talking about anything, but this is something worth talking about. An event 201 thing. This is why I love reading the YouTube comment sections, because it takes me to these things. Now, this is not enough information to say that this is what they're doing. That they're saying, well, if you had an event like this, how bad would it? And the fact that you said it took place in 2018 is kind of really telling, isn't it? And here it is, 2020. Shit has happened. So they said, especially around like the end of 2018 and all throughout 2019, they said, oh, the stock market is going to crash soon. The stock market is going to crash soon. I mean, the only way it's going to crash is probably through this this disease that's taking place. The Dow has gone down pretty bad, so we could talk about how down the Dow is. So back in 2018, they were talking about the devastation in 1920 time when they had their crash. It was like around 70%. I forget what the 70% was for, but the 70% has something to do with just how devastating the crash was. So 70% of something, and then that was what devastated it. This time around, it's supposed to be at 90. That's what they said. It's supposed to be at 90. So that's supposed to be worse. But like I said, I forgot what that was. It was 90% for something, but we'll just say 90% devastating. We'll just say that. But it has something to do with that, and it's going to be pretty freaking devastating. So honestly, me personally, I don't think it's scary. What were they doing in the Stone Ages? I'm just gonna go out in the wilderness, dude. I'm just gonna live in the wild. That could mean bye-bye to this YouTube channel, but I'll still have my books, I'll still be writing, and I'll still be doing craft stuff. I will take my crayons out there. I'm taking my crayons out there, and I'm just gonna have a good time. So that's that. Yeah. If it really is that bad, I'm just gonna go out in the wilderness. I'm just gonna trek the streets. They'll be shotgunning each other. I don't have to worry about that. I mean, sure, I have a survival knife, and that's about it. Actually, I have an extra one, sure, but I'm hoping not to use it. I just want to be alone and away from others at that point, because all you gotta do is look at an apprehensive face, and they're gonna start saying things. Do you have this? Do you have that? And what happens if you don't have it? They attack you, right? They attack you. Have you ever had a homeless person look at you crazy if you didn't have that particular thing, right? It could be money, or it could be food or something like that. You're not carrying it at that moment. Oh, speaking of homeless people, what happens if they're outside? I saw a homeless man today, and he was asking for something, and I'm thinking that person is not hecking and coughing at all. He's carrying a cane and all that stuff. Well, they'll just be used to being outside, that's for sure. Me, I'll get adjusted. Everybody else will be attacking each other. I'll try to get adjusted. They'll just be attacking each other. I enjoy the outdoors. I don't think I want to stay in the metropolitan outdoors, though. That's the thing. I might want to hang around where it's more rural and where acorns are highly popular. Highly populated. If there's like a high population of acorns, I think I'll be pretty decent. I might just live off acorns for the rest of my life. I don't know how to do spear fishing or any of that stuff, but that's another thing to consider. Stuff like that. Seafood. The hunting gathering kind of thing. I mean, because human beings, they live in this body that needs food. So this system, if it collapses, you basically kick them out of that, what is it? Oh, did I just move that thing? Sorry. You kicked them out of that thing that they were piggyback riding off of, because somebody else built that. Like, a lot of the stuff they built, a lot of these people are just taking advantage of what was built, because it's what they're doing. And it's a farce to them. So you leave a digitalized, this financial farce to an actual farce, like outside. That would probably make a lot of the people start thinking, or just doing something, artsy fartsy, and then others would be attacking each other because their brains are focused on what they need, like immediate needs. So something's wrong with your interior if all you're doing is fighting and trying to, sustain this need all the time. You would have to train your psychology in saying you don't need it. But the best way to do that would be to just not eat it, right? Not eat all the time. Eat maybe sometimes. And get used to being leaner, Although you had your hunters and gatherers back then, somebody went and gathered that fish. and somebody went and gathered, you know, whatever other animal that's out there. So that's that. That's stuff to consider if we want to go down this road of, you know, how dangerous it'll be. So a person might ask, wouldn't you be scared of being out in the wild? I would probably be irritated if I was still here and all there was gunfire because people aren't getting what they need. Okay, before they said it would be an EMP attack. So somebody would, you know, emit a, you know, it would either emit a pulse, okay, and just knock out the power, or it would be a missile that knocks out the power. So basically, the EMP attack would be an electromagnetic pulse. It disrupts the electromagnetic field in the atmosphere because what we live under is an electromagnetic field, right? You know, for those of you that have that know anything about science and what we live in. So we live in a stratosphere, telosphere, mesosphere. I think, is there a fourth? I think it's just those three. And all of that is the atmosphere. And within that atmosphere, we have an electromagnetic field, okay? So you have an electromagnetic pulse that blows up in the electromagnetic field and is able to deactivate all the electronics. The only problem is it'll blow up in your face probably if you use it. This thing could, you know, explode. That computer could explode. That lamp could explode. The TV could explode. And then, of course, the Transformers do. They have a whole bunch of booms outside. Everybody think a bomb dropped, okay, or something like that. That's what it will do. Okay, so, yeah, that's what they thought was going to happen. No, I mean, I'm thinking, you know, would it be less noisy? They would probably keep a lot of what's here and probably slowly renovate it. And then you would just die of a virus, possibly, if it has to be like that. It doesn't have to necessarily be that. You know, I guess a lot of times people get into these conspiracy theories because they don't have the power to survive. And they're like, oh, well, if they're getting away from it, that means they're attacking us because we don't have this power and we don't have these abilities to get around it. I'm thinking, well, you can always go back to the wilderness, you know, for a little bit and then come back to see what's left over, you know, and stuff like that. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's always going to be free Wi-Fi. I'm pretty sure there's going to be free battery charges too. You know, there are some places you go to if you just happen to have, well, actually, no, I think they charge you if you want to charge your phone somewhere. So if you have internet connection, you could just upload this video to YouTube and say, hey, I'm back from the wilderness. And this is what it's like to have me come back into this town thingy. That's what that is. That's exactly what that is. So, yeah. I looked at so many conspiracy theories in the past. Like, pretty much like the whole first half of 2018 was dedicated to studying that stuff. It was like, wow. And then this, and then that, and then, man. And then people were, you know, crying about the Freemasons. They were crying about the Illuminati. They were crying about CERN. So CERN is supposed to be that thing that's supposed to be the gateway to hell. Lets all the demons in. And then you got HARP. That's supposed to, you know, activate the weather. And then you got the black people were saying that they were using that to kill the people in Louisiana. They said, oh, what happened to Louisiana, Hurricane Katrina, that was white supremacy. I'm thinking, are you kidding me, person? No, I don't think so. So, of course, black people, if they're not able to save themselves or something like that, if they think that they're always a sitting duck, they're going to assume everything was... Oh, they're insane. And this is all because people, whether it's white Christians or any other kind of people, if they think they're sitting ducks, they don't have the technology, if they feel like they're not smart enough to combat this stuff because, oh, these scientists, they're building this stuff we're not building, or they're doing these things we're not doing, and we're just commoners. We're sitting ducks. We have to sit back and use our religion and say, oh, the God's going to come back and save us because we don't have this technology and our asses are getting kicked. Honestly, person, if these conspiracy theories are true, you died because you weren't much of a builder. That's probably what it was. You didn't build anything. I mean, they might not hurt you if you were an artsy fartsy person, you know. So that's that. The funny thing is, when I go on Craigslist, they're still putting out job advertisements. They're still hiring. They got jobs out there that are hiring still. So it doesn't look like anything's going to fall apart anytime soon because they're still hiring. That's the funny part. You go on Career Builder. They posted something recently. You go on, yeah, once again, Craigslist. They have stuff that was up there a day ago. 3 days ago. You got people sitting in these HR offices. Okay. And that's that. So, yeah, that was a bunch of rambling coming from me, and you have a nice day. Okay, because apparently that's all I've been doing lately was rambling, okay? And I got to work on that because I'm a rambler. I'm a chronic rambler. That might as well be an illness of mine. That might as well be an illness. Did I say I was going to do a slideshow for what Event 22 is supposed to be? So, yeah, sure. I guess I'll do that next. You guys have a lovely day. Bye.